Hell Let Loose is a platoon-based, realistic multiplayer first-person shooter for PC set in the Second World War. This looks like it's going to be one of the most promising upcoming games, not just in the World War II gaming market, but the PC gaming market in general. Now, just a quick overview of what you might be able to expect. Imagine the game Squad. Imagine being very coordinated with your team members, a very gritty, realistic feel to the gameplay, but take that back into a World War II setting with realistic weapons and engines of war. So they are trying to promise 100 players per game, which is a little bit insane, to be fair, for games we have these days, with Call of Duty World War II having such small player counts, and even Battlefield not being able to push their player counts to past 64 on the most parts. So 100 players per game is absolutely insane, and within these, of course, I expect you're going to have different squads, and then maybe your squad leaders are going to be able to communicate between each of your squads, and therefore making the team one big working cog of war. Of course, it is important to coordinate and win through your teamwork tactics and communication, and not through single man playing. There is no one-man army in these types of games. That is not really on the cards, and I think you'll find out if you try and play any of these gritty, realistic games. Even games such as Arma is not a one-man game, obviously, depending on the game mode. These you have to work with your team. On a smaller scale, we have games such as Insurgency, which kind of encourage this type of gameplay. Not staying on your own, but coordinating with your teammates, finding where the enemies are, finding the places you have to capture, and going and taking them with teamwork and not pure individual skill. Of course, this will not just be infantry. We've only really seen some infantry gameplay at the moment, but they are promising combined arms, and what this means with over 20 different player-controlled vehicles and deployed weapons in the game. So you'll have artillery maybe in there as well, tanks, Shermans, jeeps, buggies, and things like that. Maybe even sidecar motorbikes would be awesome with turrets on them as well. But with all this combined armed warfare, you're going to need a decent-sized map. Now, this isn't a ginormous open world game, so the map is sort of related to the type of gameplay that you're going to be playing with. This is a 4-kilometer squared map, and of course to 1-to-1 scale, so everything is going to be as it would be in the real world, but across 4 kilometers. Now, I think this is going to be absolutely perfect for this type of gameplay and the sizes and the players that will be in the game. It is developed on Unreal Engine 4, but the developers are trying to get in their own touch to it. Each game needs to sort of have its own unique twist, especially since World War II games are coming back into the somewhat mainstream recently. And the twist they're putting on it is their intense historical accuracy. All their weapons, all their vehicles will be historically accurate to the finest details. They're not doing this Call of Duty World War II, having just submachines going in and blasting everyone. This is trying to be as historical accurate as possible. Not just the weapons, but of course the vehicles as well. It does say on the website that you'll be able to deliver supplies to the front with an Opel Blitz supply truck, roll across the fields with Sherman, Firefly, and flee fearsome Panther tanks in a Jeep, or bombard the enemy positions in a Priest. And so this is going to be pretty interesting, having all the different types of vehicles. I wonder how they're going to do it. Are they going to have all the vehicles possible to get in on one map, or is it going to be different game modes, different maps that have different types of vehicles? I would suspect that because this is trying to be as realistic and as immersive as possible, they're going to put the option to have pretty much whatever you want on the game field, as long as it stays balanced, of course. As you can see from the gameplay, this game looks absolutely incredible. The graphical fidelity looks so authentic to the time period. It's nice and gritty, and it has a realistic, it's not overly colourful, but it's not overly dark like you see in some games these days as well. They have that fairly realistic, nice feel to it, so it feels like you're playing as a soldier in the countryside or in a city as alike. But of course, there are 3 different levels of warfare that you're going to be engaging in within your team. First is strategic, and this will be more of a tactics-based strategy sort of thing. You'll be communicating with other squads and teammates as a commander, and of course you'll be able to call in separate supplies and things for your soldiers on the battlefield. There'll also be the possibility to get in aerial and naval strikes, which is absolutely awesome if you need that extra breach, if you need to be able to push position but you can't quite get it with infantry, maybe calling in a naval strike or even an aerial strike on that position. The other level of war is operational, where of course you'll be able to establish supply lines and things like that, getting garrisons and constructing minefields, defences and all that good stuff. Of course, this is a very important part, being able to construct this supply line in the front line to stop the enemies getting past. You need to have a clear front line for your allies to be able to defend and then push on from that. And finally, the last level of warfare is tactical. Here you'll be playing as an officer with established observation posts and garrisons, and then of course you'll be working together with the commander and trying to notify people with your binoculars and things, scouting the area, where to flank, where to put resources and where to call in those strikes. So everyone's going to have their own separate units and own separate role on the battlefield and be able to work together in order to become victorious over the world. Now they are going with a different type of game mode to create this realistic feel to it. It says this on the website: instead of capturing a small flag, the entire map is divided into capture sectors, forcing each of the team of 50 players to make a continual tactical decisions as where they should attack or defend. When a sector is captured, it will generate one of the 3 resources for your team, creating a complex meta game that will influence you to push to victory. With this, it looks like you're going to be able to have to spend points wisely and decide where your munitions and supplies go, whether you spend money on a tank or whether you put those resources into getting more ammo for your infantry, or maybe even getting some aerial strikes on one place. That might stop you from being able to get some bases up or a front line established somewhere else. So it's going to be a very difficult, but I would say a very immersive gameplay experience that you're not really going to get in many games of the like. So Hell Let Loose is in its Kickstarter at the moment. By the time I'm recording this, there are 5 days to go, and out of their 136,000 Australian dollar goal, they already have $257,000. But of course, you can still donate if you want to. I have no affiliation with Black Matter, the people that make this game. They have not contacted me in any way. This is just something that I love to do, which is support games that I think are going to be absolutely great. I like to spotlight them so you guys can go and check them out if you want. And it really does help both the developers and of course me to grow my channel with them. But I can't wait until this game comes out and I can start making some videos on it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like down. It is really important to get some more interaction with the comments and likes on the channel, as it just helps support me nonetheless. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until then, I will see you in the next one.